Hey there, Chris Ferdinandi, the Vanilla.js guy here from GoMakeThings.com, and today I am talking about object-oriented programming and classes in JavaScript. And this is something that I find confuses my students quite a bit. They don't understand how they work, how traditional object-oriented programming and JavaScript classes are different, and so today we're going to break down all of that. And to get started, I thought we would look at a really simple, kind of pointless library called greeting. We're going to look at the traditional prototypal inheritance version of that, and then we're going to take a look at how we convert that into JavaScript classes. So let's dig in. Here I have my, my library function, greeting, and it accepts a name. It assigns that name to the name property of this, and then we've got some functions attached to the prototype of that function. So greeting prototype, say hi, greeting prototype, say bye. And the way this works is I can create new instances using the new keyword. So new greeting Merlin, new greeting Ursula. And when I create these new instances, each instance gets the prototype function attached to it and gets access to the this keyword with whatever properties I assign when it's created. So I can run Merlin say bye, or say hi, or Ursula say bye, and it's going to log my specific messages into the console with whatever name was passed in when I created it. If we jump over to the browser, we've got, this is actually the wrong demo. Let's shrink that. So we've got hello Merlin and see you later Ursula logged into the console. If you wanted to have a function that runs directly on the library and not on its specific instances, you can skip the prototype and attach it directly. This is one of the questions I get a lot is, why do you need to use prototype? Why can't you just attach it to greeting? So if I attach it to greeting, it becomes a method on the greeting function and not on any specific instances of the greeting function. So if I were to try to, for example, run Merlin party, I'm going to get a type error in the browser. Uncaught type error, Merlin party is not a function. If I run party directly on the greeting library, then it works. Now, one thing about this is inside functions that are attached directly to the library, you lose access to any instance methods. So, there is no this name property for this. So Merlin or Ursula, they don't exist inside greeting party. It is, it's just a function I can run on the library directly. So let's take a look at what this would look like as a JavaScript class. So instead of having my constructor function be the name, I have class and then the library name, and then some curly brackets to create an object, class object. And inside there, I have this function always named constructor with a lowercase c. So with anything you can create a new instance of in JavaScript, the convention is to always capitalize it with an uppercase letter. That's why function greeting had a capital G. So in this case, we do the same thing with our classes, but then the constructor function internally has a lowercase c on it. And this is what's going to run whenever we run the new keyword with our library. And we're doing the same thing as before, assigning a name property to the instance, to this, with whatever name parameter was passed in. And then any functions that we want attached to the instance, we just include as part of the object. By default, anything in here is attached to the instance. And because this is an object, I can even use the object function shorthand notation and drop the word function entirely. So say hi, and I'm logging hello this name. Say bye, and I'm logging see you later this name. If we were to jump over to the browser, this is going to work just like before. Hello Merlin, see you later Ursula. If you want to attach a function or variable or property directly to the library and not to the instances. So what we did before with greeting party, you would use the static keyword. And this is going to attach party directly to greeting instead of to any specific instance. And if we jump over to the browser, you can see we get party time. Now, historically or originally, classes were what's called syntactic sugar on top of object-oriented programming. And what that means is they functionally did the same exact thing under the hood. They just provided a slightly different, arguably nicer syntax for doing that. So one of the reasons you might use classes over traditional prototypal inheritance is you don't have to mess around with writing function name dot prototype over and over again. You can just write the name of the function you want to run. And everything is neatly contained within the curly brackets or the class object. So it's just nice and easy and clean to see. So that's historically the case, but modern classes actually provide some feature enhancements over traditional object-oriented programming. One of them is they enforce the use of new. So with this style of creating object-oriented programming, you could actually not use new, and the browser is going to run things anyways. And so classes enforce you to use new, which prevents any sort of unintended side effects there. One other advantage here is around private class features. So looking at our original example here, right? Each instance gets a name. If we were to open up the browser here, and let's try to do something nefarious. So we are going to we're going to get the Merlin name property, and we're going to change it to, let's say, poopy head, right? And then we're going to run Merlin say bye. And now instead of saying see you later Merlin, it says see you later poopy head. So someone can go and change those properties on us, and we don't necessarily want that. In theory, you potentially want to keep those things private and for internal use only. And so private class features provide you with a way to do that. So we can define a private class feature by prefixing it with a hash or pound sign. And if you're going to use one of these on an instance property, you need to define it as a top level class property first, and then you can define it inside your constructor. So here we're going to say this name equals name, and then we'll use our private class version of that instead. And you can see it works exactly as before, but now if I were to try to overwrite Merlin to poopyhead, it says everything worked fine, but then if I go Merlin say bye, it helps if I spell Merlin properly, we get see you later poopyhead, which should not be happening. That's only happening because I'm doing this in the console. Let's repeat what we did here. The console is giving me some liberties to do things you can't actually do inside the JavaScript here. So let's try that again. Okay, yeah, so I'm getting this error. Private field name must be declared in an enclosing class. And so this is the normal behavior that you'd see here. I've got this private class feature. It cannot be modified outside of the class itself. And so that's one of the really nice things about classes is they can provide you with that extra level of protection. You can also use it with, if you wanted to say, have the emoji as a variable that's defined, you can do something like this. Now, because I want this to be available in a static function, I'm making it a static variable here attached to greeting and not to my instances. And then inside here, I can do something like greeting emoji and go like that. And it's going to work, but it's going to be protected, so I can't modify it. I can't even access it outside of the function. So if I tried to do something like greeting emoji, again, helps if you spell things correctly, we're going to get an error saying that it has to be declared inside the enclosing class. So if you were to try to do this with traditional object-oriented programming, what you end up having to do is create an immediately invoked function expression that returns your constructor and encapsulates any of the stuff you want to keep private. So in order for this to work, I have to do something like this and then return greeting back out. And then I would be able to, for example, define emoji as a variable internally, and then I can use it like this. So now emoji is private, but I have no way of doing that with instance properties inside traditional object-oriented programming. So classes are still a win here. And so for a while, before private class features were a thing, I used to tell people that there's really no right or wrong choice here. They both functionally do the same thing, so pick whichever one you like better. These days, I think classes provide both a better authoring experience and provide some features that traditional object-oriented programming doesn't, and they're my default choice when I'm creating a library like that. So anyways, that's it for today. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that bell icon if you want to make sure you never miss my new videos when they come out. You can also head over to gomakethings.com where you can sign up for my daily developer tips newsletter, where every weekday I send out tips, tricks, and tutorials for building a simpler and more resilient web. And if you really like this video, I would very much appreciate it if you shared it to help me grow my channel. I'm going to make sure there are links to all of the source code from today's video down in the description below. And thank you so much for watching. Cheers.